What if I told you there was a surefire way to kill your beauty business and that most new PMU and lash artists do it? But there's also a way to prevent this from happening. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide to making sure you don't get sucked into the same trap and end up in the beauty business graveyard because you haven't thought your pricing through. To talk us through this process, we're going to follow two newly qualified permanent makeup artists who are both in the same town. This is Jane and this is Sally. So Jane trained with a 6-month course. It was £10,000. Her machine was £2,000 and she uses the best quality pigments that are 5 times the price of Sally's. And she's opening a salon and refurbishing it all. Sally did a £500 one-day course and is going to go mobile and uses the £30 machine and cheap pigments she got with her course. Sally is charging £100 for her brows and Jane looks at her and thinks, well, I don't want to be the cheapest, but I'm also new, so I'll charge £200 for brows. Jane is determined to be a great PMU artist, but while she's spent hours practicing on latex and fantasising about which velvet chair will be in reception and the nice lighting she's going to have, she's already neglected half of her permanent makeup business. The business. Pricing is often one of the last things beauty business owners think about, and they base it off the wrong metrics. When I coach struggling permanent makeup artists on running their businesses, I ask them how they priced their services, and it's always the same answer. I looked in my area, I looked at the most expensive, I looked at the cheapest, and I plonked myself somewhere in the middle. Why? Why is what anyone else is charging relevant to what you are charging? There are thousands of permanent makeup courses churning out one-day trained people who think they can make a fast buck, and prices are a race to the bottom right now. I get clients trying to book with me all the time who have previous work, and this is what I hear. Sally down the road did them for me. She only charged £100, but she's not doing it anymore. Why not? Permanent makeup is a fantastic job where you get to make people feel great all day. Why isn't she doing it? Because Sally realised that she can't actually make any money at that price, and so she's now decided to do something else. But 6 months later, so did Jane. She was basing her price on someone else's, not on her own worth. And pretty soon, with her rent, heating and higher trade cost, Jane wasn't making any money either, and her business had to close. Artists are quitting all the time, all the while leaving customers coming to other brow artists who genuinely think that eyebrows should be about £100. It's not actually hard to see why. A needle, a bit of pigment. Why is it so expensive? So before you set your price, you need to know your numbers. Let's start off with your trade cost. Yes, it's tedious, but you only need to do it once and you'll get a great understanding of your costs. So look at your tray. Look at what your 100 pieces of gauze cost, divide it by the 5 pieces you use per client, and do that for every item you use. That gives you your trade cost, and that's probably pretty low. And £200 for brows is looking pretty good now, right? Wrong. Now you need to add everything else you spend money on to run your business. That includes rent, business rates, heating, a phone, insurance, a booking system, photo editing apps. The list goes on and on. To work this out, you need to add up all your outgoings and then divide it by the amount of clients you see. The busier you are, the lower the cost per client is. So £100 is looking pretty impossible now, isn't it? Next, you actually need to pay yourself. Work out what you want to earn per hour or week and then add that to the cost. If you have staff, such as a receptionist or online assistant, I have both, their wages also need to come out of the treatment cost. That's adding up now. And then if you're wanting to take your business seriously, you're going to need to make sure you factor in sick pay and pensions, everything that employed people take for granted. After all that, you need to work out what you want your profit margins to be to make it worth your while to stay in business. To grow a business, you need to be in profit. An ideal profit would be anything from 50 to 70%. And now you can see if you're pricing yourself next to people who will clearly be closed in 6 months' time, then you're never going to make it. Let me know in the comments how many of these things you thought about when you priced yourself. Remember, your price is determined by your costs, not by people's budgets. Whenever you learn a new skill or travel for training, that also needs to be factored into your costs. And if your business cannot sustain those lists, it's not profitable and it will die. Never apologise for pricing yourself correctly and change your price immediately if it isn't including everything on those lists. As the cost of living increases, so should your prices. If you need help determining your price, then join my free Facebook group, Permanent Excellence, and ask for help. There's a link below. Your trade costs stay the same per client, but your fixed costs like rent, insurance, etc. mean that the busier you are, the cost per client comes down. So the next step is to get more clients, and that's why you need this video.